I suppose so. That was good enough for Sally. She was glad that she was not the only person concerned about Adam. She decided to poll all the parents of youth and get their comments before she asked the PPRC to do something. Sally spent the next 2 weeks calling all the parents and recording their concerns about the youth director. She carefully recorded all the concerns and presented them to the PPRC chairperson after the 11 o'clock service the following Sunday. He wanted to know what he was receiving. These are the concerns of the parents of youth in our church. We are asking the PPRC take immediate action to remove Adam as our youth director. And you will see why after you read the comments. Who have you talked with, Sally? I really can't reveal their names to you, Dave. They have all asked that you keep these comments confidential. Dave did not want to deal with this list of concerns. The PPRC had worked for a long time to hire this youth director. They knew Adam would need to gain experience, but they felt he was the best they could do at the time. Dave did promise Sally that the PPRC would talk about the concerns she was raising. At the next meeting, Dave presented the concerns as he understood them. The PPRC had a lengthy discussion, but since no one on the PPRC had any youth in the youth program, and since they could not talk directly to the parents who raised the concerns due to the fact that they did not know who they were, they decided that the best course of action was to take a wait-and-see attitude. They would all watch very closely for the next 2 months, and in addition, Dave would talk with Adam and ask him to make improvements in the areas that were mentioned in the letter. Dave did meet with Adam, and he promised to do better. Sally waited for 3 weeks, but she did not hear anything from PPRC, and she also noted that Adam was carrying on as if everything was normal. She couldn't believe that PPRC had refused to take action, especially in the light of so much evidence from the parents. She knew she could not talk to the senior pastor about the issue because Adam was a friend of the pastor's family, and so she decided to turn to the only other person who would have power in this situation, the district superintendent. Sally prepared a special letter to the DS that listed her concerns and mailed it in the very next day. Sally's story. Now, we've already expressed some feelings and perceptions as we were listening and hearing this story. But I take this as the confessional part of the evening, and sometimes we confess our own sins, but sometimes we want to confess the sins of others. It's easier to confess, I know she did this, I know he did that. And so I would ask you to think about this. Look at this story and pick up a couple points where you said, aha. And one of the ways we said aha was with laughter, or not. What ahas did you have here say, yep, this is a typical approach. This is how the church does it. This is how we do it. And this could be confessional or slightly confessional, or say, I saw this happen once. What are the ahas here? Where do you say, yep, that's how we do it, or that's how we did it? What did you hear? Yes?
Well, instead of Sally going to Adam to chat, she went to
Yeah.
and started that conversation, and they definitely started
Yeah. Yeah. So the first step here was going to her daughter's friend's mother. So here you go, the daughter and the friend, mother, and say, what do you think? So point one, remember this is the confessional part. Yes.
Don't you think the problem started actually before that?
Okay.
Discussion going into Vicky, because Sally never draws that we did.
Yeah.
She did not like the new pastor.
Okay.
She owned the problem.
Here we go. Here we go. Now we want to hold this thought. She went somewhere. She had an issue right from the top. So you see this in the first paragraph. Sentence number 2, after it says imaginary church, it says had never really liked the new youth director. So take note. Sometimes we're over against somebody just like that. Hold that thought. Someone else, where did you go? Aha. Or where did we laugh? Ah, yeah. Thank you. The daughter came home, and what was the daughter's mood when she came home? She was depressed. But that, yeah, she was too tired. She'd had too many brownies. Right. But did the father ask? So there, I'm sorry. I know. Right. I know. When I came home from church camp, I don't know, were we together in church camp? When I came home from church camp, I think I was depressed because I just thought, gosh, I don't want to go home. You know, my mom and dad are there. And so, yeah. I know. They were crying when their folks came back and that they had to go home. So, but the point was mother-daughter and what's happening here. Boy, there's a lot of conversations. That was the point earlier, like conversations that haven't been had. But we're getting ahead. This is the confessional part. Where are the ahas or the laughter or the dis-ease? Yes, right. So we made an assumption based on her feelings or prejudice about the youth director. Yep. The daughter must not like him either. Yeah. Someone else, another. Yeah. Yes. So now we've raised a couple of issues here. Claiming responsibility, signing a letter to Staff Parish. Are we going to send it anonymously? So there was one point about claiming responsibility. Here's what I said. I'm going to put my name with it. But there was something else before that. You said, what was the thing you said before? Yeah. Right. Oh, I wanted to talk about the listening point. I think the keynote of the rule of Christ is listening. And I was wondering how much Sally was listening. You know, and first we said to her daughter, but then also said, I'm going to knock on the door of a friend and say, what's wrong with our youth director? And I want to hold on the point of listening. Someone else, yeah? Yes. So you said, Vicki. Yeah. Large? Yeah, thank you. That's listening. Why are you so quiet, Vicki? Who asked? Why are you so quiet? What do you think? But there's that listening thing again. I think it keeps coming back. Who's listening? Yeah. 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 I'm sorry? Yeah, fueling the fire. So we recognize some of this, don't we? Yes. Yeah. I know. Yeah. I know. Yeah. How would you like, Kate, how would you like to be chair of Staff Parish Relations in this spot? I mean, two words you said, sowing seeds of dissension and building consensus around your own position. There's a lot of, there's issues of power here and pain. I'm wondering, can I ask a personal question? Why do we laugh when we read this? What's our laughter about? I'm sorry? Okay, it's ludicrous. We laugh. And also, this is my story. This is my song. I've been there. And the thing I confess is I've done this. I've done some of these pieces. And so I laugh in Lord have mercy, or I laugh, it's crazy. Why do I do crazy things? Why do I act crazy? That's, my kids sometimes say that, like, why are you so crazy? You know, it's, why are we crazy? And why do we do these things? And so I just think laughter also is a sign of grace. God helps us laugh. We need that laughter. Isaac's name was based on the sound of the Hebrew word for laughter, hezek. And so Sarah laughed. She said, this is a joke. And it's grace. It's like laughter sometimes gives us like a chance to like step back from the thing that, well, I don't know. Maybe it's a means of grace. Maybe grace can come through the door then when we laugh. So thank you for your honesty and your insight. Any other comment on this one? No. Okay. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Point number one, and we're gonna get to this next. Who are you talking with? Have you talked with your daughter? Have you talked with Adam? And then the big one, have you talked with God? Have you thought about talking with God about this? Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah. And see, there's political stuff here. Why do you skip the step? It's political. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why you would skip the step of the senior pastor who's connected with the youth minister, who has responsibility, but probably might not agree with you. And so I got a couple reasons for skipping the pastor. And then going around the pastor, that's a tough one. That's painful. That causes some hurt in me. When she said, okay, then I'm going to go around you, but we never talked. Wow, this one's loaded. It's, yeah. 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 If I'm on staff parish, how eager am I to talk to Sally? I mean, that's not an easy one either, Kate, to say, okay, call up Sally, I got to talk to you. That's a tough call. Matthew? Yeah? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So Matthew has lived this. So isn't that something? We've had two words. One, it's ludicrous. That means this is crazy. And then the other said, it's plausible. It's happening. It happened. And so the laughter is the bookends, the front and the back, because we're crazy and we're human and we do this. So the question. The question we are raising then, this is called a typical path. And I want to go and just walk through an outline quickly. Turn to page 9 on this folder with the rule of Christ for the church. Turn to page 9. Yeah, I'm sorry. Then go to page 8 on the other side. Yep, page 8. This story illustrates a typical path. You see that in the upper part under comments? A typical path. Get that. We've used a couple words to describe what happened here, and here's the words. A typical path. That's why I said, can we enter into the confessional here? It looks like this. I become concerned with something. I share my concern with a trusted friend. Get that. I go to my best friend. Since my friend offers no major objections, there was the point. Did she ask? No major. I decide to continue on a course of action. I begin to interview people in order to find evidence and support for this course of action. I call or write a letter to the chairperson of the appropriate committee. I share the evidence and strongly insist that the committee handle the problem. I stipulate that the information that has been shared needs to remain confidential. And I also indicate that I cannot share the names of those who have been interviewed. The committee either handles a concern and does what I suggested, tables a concern, discusses the concern but finds no support for the suggested action, handles a concern in a different way, never hears about the concern because the chairperson handles it or forgets about it. No one calls you back. You see no evidence that they took your complaint seriously. Now get that part. There was something serious here. Now that's real. There's something serious here. And I wasn't taken seriously. But now you can say, well, look how crazy you are and how crazy. But wait, I was serious about it. There's something serious here. Boy, don't we have to listen or ask or attend? It wasn't taken seriously. Of course, you indicated that everything needed to remain confidential and you could not reveal who was actually complaining. This typical pattern results in quite a bit of anxiety. Pastor Parrish has become triangled into the problem or concern. Communication is very difficult. I don't know if you can underline that enough. A face-to-face resolution is almost impossible. I wonder about that line, a face-to-face resolution. There is a lack of direct information, so each person's assumptions play a big part in the discussion. It's called a typical path, and I think we recognized it. And in some ways we claimed it. And Matthew said he's lived it and lived in it, and I have been a part of it, both on the receiving side and on the careless side. Now I want to talk about an atypical path. There's something atypical afoot, and it's called the gospel. It's atypical, and it doesn't fit with the flow. And so we're going to turn to that next. And Bill, I'll have you come and help me with this part. Turn to page 5, Matthew 18, the rule of Christ. So you'll need that microphone. And then put your finger in later on. It's on the first page of the second handout. On the second handout it says rule of Christ, and it's stapled. So have open to two places. Page 5 on the manual, and the front page of that second handout, and on the top it says Rule of Christ, a biblical process for dealing with concerns. So we're going to do this antiphonally, like the choir, like the Psalter sometimes. I'm going to ask Bill to be the reader of the gospel, and so we'll listen to the gospel and then hesitate for a bit. Be quiet for a little bit to listen to the gospel. Bill will read on the left. It's the left margin on page 5. That's the gospel of Matthew 18. Bill's going to read one piece of that at a time. And then I'd just like us to be quiet for a bit and listen to that. And then I will read commentary from the front of that second handout called A Biblical Process for Dealing with Concerns. Open wide the window of our spirits, O Lord, and fill us full of light. Open wide the door to our hearts, that we may receive and entertain you with all our powers of adoration and love. The church says, Amen. The first piece.
If your hand or your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life maimed or lame than to have 2 hands or feet and to be thrown into the eternal fire. And if your eye causes you to stumble, tear it out and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life with 1 eye than to have 2 eyes and to be thrown into the hell of fire.
Jesus tells us to take time to examine our role in the conflict. Ask yourself these questions. Can I let it go? If the answer is yes, there's no need to confront the other person. If not, what may the other person perceive that I have contributed to this problem? What does God see? Journal on these questions to gain insight for next steps. At this point, you may see things in your own behavior that need changing. Resolve to do that. Think through what it is you hope to communicate with the person with whom you are in conflict and what you would like to see as an outcome.
If another member of the church sins against you, go, point out the fault, and the two of you are alone. If the member listens to you, you have redeemed that one.
The purpose of the second step is to resolve the conflict, not to get mad or to get even. Remember to speak for yourself by starting your sentences with I. Work hard to understand the other person's point of view. Work together to create solutions. If not resolved by a one-on-one conversation,
But if you are not listened to, take one or two others along with you, so that every word may be confirmed by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses.
others can help the two parties see possibilities. You can invite someone to come with you as you meet with the other person to help mediate or facilitate the process. Or you can involve the SPRC to assist you in resolving this concern. To do that, make sure you have done steps 1 and 2. Write a one-page summary, 1 page of your concern, and give it to SPRC. The SPRC, upon receiving the concern, will work with you in resolving the issue. If not resolved by involving SPRC,
If the member refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church.
use the resources of the church. This might be the time to bring in the conflict transformation team or to be in contact with the district superintendent. If not resolved by outside help from the wider church,
And if the offender refuses to listen, move to the church. Let such a one be to you as a Gentile and a taxpayer.
there are some issues that cannot be resolved. The church should remember its mission. Let go of the anger and disappointment at the unresolved issues and move on with ministry.